walk you through some interesting breaking news. I know I told Steve I would walk him through it on the show yesterday. So if we go to my Substack, you guys can pull up the story, but we're now seeing that a lot of these groups that are involved in Minnesota, specifically sabotaging these ICE efforts, calling for their withdrawal, calling for nationwide defunding, actually have ties to, you guessed it, the Chinese Communist Party. In one case, Amnesty International, one of the largest groups that's gathering over 1,000 of these far-left Soros-type funded organizations together, bringing them together to effectively lobby Congress, not just to get rid of ICE in Minnesota, but to just get rid of ICE entirely. There are two groups that are funded by essentially the Chinese Communist Party by proxy, the Chinese Progressive Association and the Chinese American People's Council. Both of these have been previously flagged for taking hundreds of thousands of dollars from directly Chinese Communist Party run entities, including but not limited to the Bank of China. So for all of the foreign election interference fearmongers, I think we found an example for you. And another story that I want to bring your attention to is that one of the mayors in Minnesota from Rochester, who's actually been one of the loudest voices, she recently traveled to D.C. calling for ICE to be withdrawn, like I said, not just from Minnesota, but from the entirety of the United States. She also thought that President Trump's rhetoric about Somalian fraud was racist and, the whole gamut, and therefore we can't look into it. Well, she actually returned not too long ago from a all expenses paid, I would say vacation, they would say delegation, but to China, where they toured basically the entire country. They went to Wuhan, they visited Mao Zedong's planning headquarters, did a whole cultural experience, basically just soft propaganda, in some cases hardcore propaganda. But she actually quietly signed a memorandum of understanding with a Chinese city to help expand their collaboration and their partnerships with the United States. So just to get that straight, you have one of the foremost mayors in Minnesota who's advocating for the abolition and withdrawal of ICE, basically being on the take from the Chinese Communist Party, including but not limited to signing agreements to allow more Chinese involvement and infiltration in the United States. And even if you take the ICE component out of it, it's also being revealed now that there are these new Chinese Communist Party influence groups called the U.S.-China Heartland Association, whereby they're targeting lower-level officials. So these are agricultural officials, state-level officials, with these sort of trip tactics that we've seen and we've reported on extensively here at War Room before, but trying to open up the floodgates, I would call them, the gates of hell, to more Chinese Communist Party ownership of farmland here in the United States. And though this Minnesota mayor was the delegation lead on that recent trip, there were 6 other mayors who joined her, specifically from the heartland. So they're going after the Midwest region to try to change legislation so the Chinese Communist Party can more effectively buy up farmland and take over the United States from within. And I'm not just talking about Washington, D.C.